Joy Breakfast, the nation's favourite rainbow breakfast show.
Now, joining us on the line today is Aussie-born, LA-based hit songwriter and producer, also known as James Mass, aka R.I.P. Youth. He's back with a brand new euphoric dance pop single, One Night, which has been making waves since its release on the 10th of July. And he's known for his unique blend of pop, dance and R&B. We've got him here on the show this morning. Hello, James, R.I.P. Youth.
Thank you. Oh my God, I love that introduction. I need to put it on my alarm when I wake up in the morning. Get out of bed. Thank you for having me. I love it.
Thank you so much for joining us. You've been listening along over there as well, haven't you?
Yes, I want you to snort my ashes. It's too late to add my listeners. And I don't mean anyone. I mean you three. And maybe we'll make a thing out of it.
So if we get a weird parcel of ashes express posted to each of us, we'll definitely know what to do with it then.
Exactly. Oh God, I'm a sickie.
Now, James, your new single One Night is all about escaping the daily grind for a night of fun. Can you tell us a bit more about the inspiration behind the track and what you hope listeners can take away from it?
Honestly, I was just feeling a little bit burnt out, and I have about 7 months of being sober, and it's been pretty life-changing in many ways, but every now and then I feel like checking out for a little bit, back to the days when I could actually handle going out for one night that would last forever. Usually how my one nights end up. So, yeah, it's just about checking out of reality for a little bit and kind of planning in your mind your next big occasion where you can really just check out and turn your phone off and it's all-nighters. You know, I'm gay, so you know how that goes.
It's a party.
And James, congratulations on the 7 months. That's such a great accomplishment, particularly in a place like LA, I imagine, too.
Well, you know what? Everyone's kind of well, yeah, it has been like that. I've been here 13 years now, so I've watched the progression of not quite the Lindsay Lohan era, but I mean, there was a lot more nightlife before, and now it's been replaced with meditation and sound bars.
And juice bars.
Or functional mushrooms.
Now, you've worked with a lot of artists as a songwriter and producer. How do you decide which songs to keep for yourself and which to pitch to other artists?
Well, you know what? I actually started R.I.P. Youth because of that. There were songs that I was loving that were being pitched out and weren't getting picked up. So I was just, some of them, they need to see the light of day. And, it used to be that you had to press and release singles, physically, and it just doesn't make sense that I would be sitting on these golden gems and not going out there and fronting it. So, yeah, that's kind of the process of RIP, how that came about, and it was just lucky enough that, people like you were playing it on the radio in Australia on my first single, and then we ended up getting a deal right away with Radical in New York.
That is awesome. Now, we just played your breakout hit, It's a Vibe, with Rehab and Peloton. It was a huge success for you. How did that collaboration come about?
So I had actually worked with Rehab on a song for JoJo that never got released. Remember JoJo?
Right.
Yeah, that now. Yeah, and it was amazing. I still want it to come out. But anyway, so we'd already kind of WhatsApped and had a bit of a back and forth. But then I was chatting to my friend Gwen Riley, who is the VP of music programming at Peloton. And I didn't even know the whole Peloton ecosystem is they are obsessed. It's such a huge thing over here. And they just built their huge New York studio, and they wanted to do something with Cody Rigsby for a Pride ride.
Oh,
and do a remix of It's a Vibe because they'd heard it and loved it. So I got to actually go into the studio in New York. We've timed it well. Rehab did the remix, which we went back and forth on a little bit, but then we got to debut it to 500,000 people in a class in New York in studio with Cody Rigsby.
That's insane.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Look, over the years, your music has received strong support from radio stations in the US and UK, also in Australia. How important nowadays is radio play to you, and how does it feel hearing your songs being played around the world?
It's so important, but I was just bitching to someone yesterday, actually, that I'm never in Australia when my songs are my friend had called me yesterday and was like, you were on Kiss and you were announcing the song and yada yada. And I was like, oh God, it's so, But it's really important. It makes me happy. It makes my label happy, and they let me continue to release music.
Which is very important.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
but I love
radio,
it.
I heard that you were discovered by Alan Jones.
Oh, God, I don't know if I should take that out of my bio now.
I'm fascinated.
Yes, I was. Well, credit where credit's due. He was really nice enough to introduce me to Dennis Hanlon. I'd sung for him one time, and he thought I had something, so he took me in to see Dennis, and I ended up just singing a cappella at Sony Studios to him, and then I ended up getting a development deal with Sony. At the time, JD Springbett was my A&R manager, and then unfortunately he ended up committing suicide. He was on the Australian Idol, one of the judges there.
Oh,
So
that's so
I promise it
sad.
wasn't because of my music, is what they tell me.
I doubt it. Your music is very upbeat.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's how I ended up meeting my then collaborators, DNA Songs, which have done, I think they've done so well since we wrote that original song for Brian McFadden at the time, which was my first gold record in Australia. I was very proud.
Amazing.
Congratulations. Well, you've mentioned that streaming has changed the industry and that you want to release music on your own terms. How has this independence influenced your creative process?
It really, I have very few gatekeepers. Thanks to the label that I'm with. They're really, really supportive of what I want to do. I am aware also that I want to receive commercial love. So there's a happy medium between that, because I do want to be liked and I do want people listening to the music, but I also want to tell stories that are true to me. And I usually do, it's all, I've never really, never released a song I haven't written and been fully engrossed in some stage of my life and telling my story. So yeah, it's been good. And streaming, it's just changed the way that we do things now, because it's not so hard to get things in their schedule and upload them into the system and have music coming out consistently. So yeah, I think it's really good to see a lot of new artists coming up that haven't needed the support of a major label.
Absolutely. And what can fans expect from RIP Youth in the near future? What's next for you?
Well, I want to come down to Melbourne and I want to do a show, of course. You know what's so funny? I'm looking after Hugh Sheridan's cat at the moment, and I was just chatting to him before. And he was saying, I know, somehow I got left with his pussy. And this is okay for the radio. But anyway,
So
he was like,
many
"Tell
ways
them
we can
about my
take that."
show that's happening in Melbourne. So apparently there's a California Crooners Club show coming up in Melbourne soon. But I would love to get down there, and I will eventually. I'm coming back in November. I just need to try and plan out what a show would look like, because I really want to do some live music and set up a show.
Well, we
while I'm
definitely want to be on that invite list. And if you do come back to Melbourne, we'd love to have you again here in studio.
there. I would love that. Thank you so much for all the support. I love it. Literally, Joy is one of my biggest supporters. So thank you for letting me do what I do.
And James, can you do us the honour of introducing your brand new track, One Night?
Yes, this is my new single. It's James from RIP Youth. You're listening to my new single on Joy 949 on The Breakfast Show with all my besties that are going to snort my ashes.